Hello everyone and welcome to this channel where I will attempt to solve some C puzzles from the C puzzle book by Alan R. Feuer. For those of you who are not familiar with this book, I recommend you do a quick Google search, C puzzle book. You'll go ahead and see the book that I am talking about. Now some background here, I am by far no means an expert in C, and the way I will explain these puzzles are the way that I solve these puzzles myself. Some expectations prior to watching the videos are that you have a basic understanding of how to write C programs, since these puzzles will go ahead and strengthen our C knowledge, and with due time make us C experts. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into the very first puzzle, Operators 1, Basic Arithmetic Operators. So here we have our C function or C program here. We have our main function. We have inside the main function we have 5 statements. We first declare an integer variable x. And the 4 following statements, we go ahead and do some arithmetic operation with these integer values, and the result will be go ahead and assign to the value of x, and lastly printed with the printf function found inside the standard input-output library. So some common jargon before we actually jump in, solve these puzzles are number 1, so operator. So an operator is a symbol in programming syntax used to compute some operation with operands. Operands are values used for each operator. So here, for example, we have 5 plus 7. The operator here is the plus sign. The operation we are performing is addition, and the operands are the integer values 5 and 7, with the result being 12. Now some generic operations we can do A plus B, where A and B are operands, followed by C times D, E minus F, or G backslash H, where backslash here would be defined as division. So operators 1.1. We have here the expression x is equal to a minus, and then we have a 3 plus 4 times 5 minus 6, and we go ahead and print out the value of x. So in the above statement, we have 4 operators. We have the equal sign, which is the assignment operator. We have the minus sign, which is used for the subtraction, or the subtractive operator / negative sign, or the unary, which I'll explain here in a bit. We have the plus sign, which is used for the additive operator, and the asterisk, which is the multiplicative. So between these 4, which one of these operators do we actually evaluate first? Well, before we can actually answer that question, we're going to go ahead and cover some 2 key terms that are going to be able to be used for the rest of these videos. So the first one being precedence, which really just means it just establishes the order in which the operations are evaluated in expression. Just pretty much says which operator is the first one to be operated, and so forth. The associativity, on the other hand, defines which operations get evaluated first in the case that 2 or more operators have the same level of precedence. And we'll go ahead and see an example of what we mean by precedence and associativity. So in order to actually solve these puzzles, it's best to look up, some operator precedence and associativity table, like I did here in C. This table will go ahead and help us out and solve, which one of these operations do we actually solve first, and which ones do we do following that, and so forth. So in this table here, we have our operators on the very first column here, all the operators here and used by the C syntax. In the middle column, we have a description that describes what these operators do. And last but not least, on the third column, we go ahead and have the associativity, which will either be right to left or left to right, depending on the actual operator. So jumping into our first puzzle, we have here which one of these operators has the highest precedence. Well, in this case, it would be the unary operator, the minus sign, or which is used for negativity. If we go back and actually look at the table, we can actually see here that we have the plus and the minus sign fall into this level here. The equal sign, which we have the assignment operator, falls way below the addition and subtraction. And here we have the unary operator, or the unary plus, or in this case unary minus, which is above the addition and subtraction. So looking at this table here, the very first, the very bottom row would be the operators that have the least precedence, and the operators in the top row here have the highest, and it goes from highest to lowest. So in this case, the unary minus has the highest precedence among the addition and subtraction, and the assignment. Therefore, we'll go ahead and use the unary operator negativity to bind the minus sign to 3 and enclose that in parentheses. Now you may ask yourself, well, why do we not, bind this minus sign to the 6? Well, the reason that we don't is because we have an actual operand in front of the minus sign, which in this case is the integer value 5, which will go ahead and make the minus sign a subtractive operation instead of a unary or negativity operation. As we can see here with the 3, there is no other number in front, so therefore this minus sign will bind to 3, making it the negativity sign. Following the unary operator, the operator with the second highest precedence is the multiplicative operator, and we can go ahead and check that by looking at the table real quick. As we saw here before, following the unary, we see that the multiplication, the division, and this percent sign, which is the modulus, have higher precedence than the additive and subtractive operations. So therefore, we're going to go ahead and enclose the operands 4 and 5 in parentheses, since these have the next highest precedence. Following that, we have a tie between the subtractive here and the additive operations here. As we can see back on our table, both the additive and subtractive have the same level of precedence. So we'll go ahead and jump to the associativity, which will define which of these two do we actually evaluate first. The associativity tells us to go from left to right. Now what this means is we're going to start from the equal sign and go from left to right. And whichever operator we encounter first is the one we're going to go ahead and evaluate next. So if we start from the equal sign and go from left to right, which is from here, as we've defined here in this little highlighted blue, we'll go ahead and encounter the plus sign first, followed by the minus sign. So therefore, we're going to go ahead and add the two operands of this minus 3 plus the result of what happens to be this multiplication here, enclosed in brackets. And lastly, the result of this will be subtracted by 6 and then assigned to the value of x, because once again, the equal sign is the assignment operator, which has the least precedence of these other 3 operators. Go ahead and multiply 4 by 5, we get 20. We go ahead and add negative 3 plus 20 gives us a positive 17. We'll subtract 6 from 17, which goes 11. We'll go ahead and print out the value of 11. Operators 1.2. So following the same procedure as we did with operators 1.1, we have the statement x is equal to 3 plus 4 percent sign, which is the modulo operator, 5 minus 6, and we'll go ahead and print the value of x. So in the above statement, we have 4 operators here. Which one of these do we go ahead and evaluate first? Well, the only new operator here we've added is the modulo. Everything else that we've seen before. So once again, if we look at the table of precedence, we see which operator do we see first. In this case, we have the modulo operator, which has the highest precedence between either the plus and the minus and the equal sign here. So the modulo operator will have the highest precedence. So we'll go ahead and enclose 4 mod 5, which is the proper syntax of saying this inside in parentheses. Following the modulo operator, we have again a tie between the subtractive and the addition operators. They both have the same level of precedence. So once again, we're going to use the associativity, which states we go from left to right. So starting from the equal sign, going from left to right, we encounter the plus sign first. Therefore, we go ahead and enclose in brackets the operands 3 plus whatever the result of this 4 mod 5 operation is. And last but not least, we'll go ahead and subtract 6 from whatever this result is. Now 4 mod 5 gives us 4. And the way we compute this is the modulo operator will give us, or will return the remainder if there happens to be one. Once we divide, operand A by operand B. Well, in this case, we're trying to divide 4 by 5. And since 5 cannot divide into 4 evenly, we are left with a remainder of 4. Therefore, the result of 4 mod 5 will be 4. We'll go ahead and add 4 to 3. We'll give us 7. And then we'll subtract the value of 6 from 7, which will give us 1. And last but not least, because we have this equal sign here, which is the assignment operator, which has the lowest precedence between these other operators. We'll go ahead and assign the value of 1 into x, and therefore print the value of x out here. Now, as we've seen here, we've seen two examples here of how to go ahead and go about solving these expression statements that involve arithmetic operators by using this table of precedence and associativity. We'll go ahead and continue to solve the other two puzzles that remain in another video. So thank you all for watching, and stay tuned.